Today we honor our Long Island Poet of the Year, and I would like to introduce former Long Island Poets of the Year, and then I will introduce our board president, who will give a welcome, and then he will introduce two of our Long Island Poets of the Year who couldn't be stopped, and we all want to say such wonderful things about Annabelle, and they will speak, and then I'll introduce our board member, Dr. Richard Bronson, who will give the formal introduction. So you have so many people talking about Annabelle today. It's just wonderful. So welcome, Annabelle. Let's have a nice round of applause for Annabelle. Welcome. Okay, so I think I will tell you, so Dr. Walter is going to say the introductions, and then we will be followed by Patty Tana and Gladys Henderson. Patty was the 11th Long Island Poet of the Year, and Gladys was the 12th Long Island Poet of the Year. And we also have in our group today someone I'd like to introduce, Pramila Venkats-Warren, who is our 2011th Long Island Poet of the Year, who's here today. Quite a crowd. Okay, so I'll introduce Dr. Walter. I welcome you. I'll turn it over to him, and then I'll be coming up now and again to keep things moving. Welcome.
Thank you, Cynthia, and welcome to this wonderful autumn afternoon. What a spot to be at Walt's Birthplace for all of us to hear some poetry from our Long Island Poet of the Year. Just a word about the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association. We acquired the Birthplace in 1951 after the Watsons had aged out from running a tea room in the Birthplace and wanted to sell it. And you know what happened. There were people that said, we can't just let this go someplace. We have to save it and preserve it. Cleveland Rogers was the editor of the Brooklyn Eagle at that time. He was kind of one of the spearheads that the group got together, and they got an option to buy the Birthplace for $20,000 and a year to do it in. And at the end of the year, they had $10,000. Went to a startup newspaper called Newsday, and Alicia Patterson put it on the front page. School children gave nickels and dimes, and at the end of another few months, the sum total came to $24,000, and the Birthplace was able to take over, the Birthplace Association was able to take over the Birthplace. We then worked on giving it to New York State, and they took it over. The bill was passed, signed by Governor Harriman in 1957, and the Birthplace figured we've done our job. The state will run this place now for us. Well, I remember when I moved here in '62, we had a caretaker in there whose name was Ernie, and he had a dog, a Labrador, black Labrador, and people would come and knock on the windows and say, we came from such and such, and we'd like to see the Birthplace. And he'd invent stories because he really didn't know anything about Whitman. So the Birthplace Association said, maybe our work isn't over. Maybe we've got to come back and run some programs here and tell people what Walt was really all about. And that's what we've been doing with the help of New York State, who've been helping us take care of the place. And look at this. We have interpretive center, we have a gathering house, we have some statues. Even the shopping center now has a new statue of Walt Whitman to accompany their growth in space. So we have a growing space here honoring Walt Whitman, and we're happy to honor also Annabelle Moseley as the 16th Long Island Poet of the Year. I'd like to introduce some other board members here. We have Tom Weissmuller sitting in back, who's the vice president of the board. And our secretary, Jack Coulihan, is hiding here somewhere. There he is in the back, too. And Richard Bronson. So the four of us represent a board of 10 that's here to help honor Annabelle this evening, this afternoon. Let me turn this back over to Cynthia now, but please enjoy and help us applaud for Annabelle.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Walter. And I thank the board for their leadership and guidance, for the association, who certainly pulled us through the bad times in the economy through 2008 and onward to where we are today, that we're fiscally sound. We have wonderful programs, as you can see in the newspaper, wonderful coverage of the events we're having, recently been named a literary landmark by the United Libraries Association. And I'd like to say we have a wonderful donation, the Whitman Family Bible. We have a display case, not the real one is out in display, but please take a look at it, and we'll be celebrating that event in November. So I urge you to come. I urge you to visit, join our programs, volunteer, and join us in any way that works out for you. Now, the Long Island Poet of the Year Award, I think this is written in your program, but let me just say this. We select a poet who is nationally known and well-respected, who champions poetry through their writing, their teaching, and their support of the Long Island community of poets and their events. So the award is quite an acknowledgement of the life work of the poet. It's not necessarily just about their writing ability and publications and skills or their contributions to literature, but it's about their contributions to the life of poetry on Long Island and to the life of poetry in general. So it's a very prestigious award that we hold very dear to us. We're happy to celebrate with the former honorees who are here today. We do have the plaque over here that's on the wall, and their name goes up there. So I'm just giving a little bit of information about the award for those of you who are here for the first day. It's my pleasure to introduce two of I would say her friends, but we're all Annabelle's friends who are here today, and her colleagues, and many of us are her colleagues who are here today, and family. But I would like to introduce two former Long Island Poet of the Year, and they will come up and share some introductory remarks with you about their relationship with Annabelle. And you know, I have to say too, when I came on board in 2006, Annabelle knocked on the door and she came in and she said, you know, this is very special to my heart, and you all know the story and you're going to hear it, I'm sure. But what can I do to help you? And certainly this is the way that nonprofits operate, that we benefit, and that we thrive and grow. It's people like Annabelle who come in and offer their services. So it was my introduction to her many, many years ago. She's been here in a variety of hats, and she'll be back next week for her workshop. So I wanted to add those personal comments to Annabelle's long list that you're going to hear today. So would Patty Tanna and Gladys Henderson please come up?